you. So great to have you here. Welcome to Conscious Business Talks. It's Thursday again, and here we are. So, today I was thinking, I'm not quite sure what I want to talk to you about. And then, like it always happens, just things happened, and I was like, I know what I want to tell you about because I'm kind of stoked about it. And it's one of those things that I literally am thinking, okay, I'm super excited about it, but at the same time, it's constantly Here we go. Can you guys hear me now? Somebody give me an indication because otherwise I'm happy talking to myself. Okay. So, are we good, guys? Matt, I can hear you on the back. You have to kill that. I can hear it. Don't you love tech? I actually love tech, except when it doesn't work. So this is what awesome Vicky says. Let me play this. Vicky says, we have sound. I love that. Thank you. Okay, so what I wanted to, first of all, welcome to Conscious Business Talks. It's Thursday and here we are. And I'm super happy that the sound thing is fixed and you guys can actually hear me because I was having a really good discussion with myself, which works, because why not? But it's so much better when you can hear me. There's Vicky, there's MJ, there's Zishan. Oh my gosh, Robin is there. Matt's there, I think. We are a go. Awesome. So anyway, when I was having this happy discussion with myself, what I was telling you about was that originally I was like, what do I want to talk about today? And what do I want to share? Because throughout, the days, between the Thursday and the Thursday and the Thursday, there's so much happening and there's so much going on. And some of it makes me kind of go, oh, I can't wait to tell you guys about it. And then there are other things where I'm like, I don't know what I want to talk about. And yet, whenever I show up here and you guys are here, then I'm like, oh, okay, I really want to share this because it's got me lit up. So I want to share it and see what you guys can do with it. And if it will make a difference in something you are doing, right? It's like that sharing of awesomeness that just hopefully lights up something else that wasn't a possibility until you shared, right? So anyway, here goes. I was it's I think 2 days ago, I was sitting there and I have been trying to figure this bit out. And every time I do all of the work, Vicky says, share the awesomeness. Okay, I'm going to share it, and you guys tell me if you think it's as awesome as I think. Because sometimes, some of my happiest moments are when something not just inspires me and lights me up, but it also keeps popping up in my head. And it makes me wonder, right? It sparks other thoughts, because I have to confess, wonder is one of my favorite states, just because when I'm in that state, it just keeps connecting dots that I didn't originally connect, right? And it keeps fitting into pieces and puzzles that what is it? Okay, so this is what happened, right? A couple of days ago, I was sitting there trying to figure this stuff out, and a big part of my life is marketing, right? So I was trying to figure out an offer that I really should have launched a long time ago, but I didn't, because I kept second guessing it, and I kept finding things to work on other people's stuff. And there I was thinking, okay, I don't know. And then I shared with you guys last week that, yes, I am teasing you. You're right, Robin. You see, I'm building the frame. Now you guys are getting to know what happened before. So here I was in the middle of it, and I had committed to somebody that I was actually going to share it with them once I set it up. And whenever I commit to somebody that I'm going to do something, it really irks me if I'm getting close to that deadline and I haven't. But I totally hadn't. And not only that, I kept on not feeling well. I was feeling and then I talked to you guys about self-care and all, and then the weekend came, and that was my deadline. I had not submitted my completed set of offers to my friend to say, hey, here's my accountability bit. But you know what? There was a part of me that was thinking, I can push through like I usually do, but it's not feeling right. And I didn't. I let the weekend unfold. I brought, my dad over. I visited with him. I helped out a couple of friends. I just let things be. I kept on working on bits, but I let this offer bit go. And then the day before yesterday, there I was in the afternoon doing something. And all of a sudden, it was like everything was just there. I had ideas flowing, they were sparking. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, what was the big deal? It's all here. I can just do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and this is it was, I can't even say it was flowing, because it was literally all there, right? So I had some projects to work on, so I was working on those, and then I had promised that I would go to bed on time, so I was late, but I was kind of on time. But get this, I sat in bed, and in the light of the laptop, I was writing out stuff because it wouldn't stop. And then I had to take a picture of it and send it to my friend. And it was too dark for me to take a picture. So I snuck over to the closet, and I turned the light on so I could take a picture and send it to him and say, I finally did it. But since then, I've been on fire. And here's the thing. I don't usually talk about my stuff, because it's like, oh, you're being too loud. I love other people being loud, and I'm like, yes, you go. But for me, it's always a thing where I'm like, oh, I can't, that's too loud. That's not, I'm not going to talk about that. People know. I'll just work it out, and they'll see, and whatever. And I literally went on a call with that friend and a couple of other friends, and this was me. I was like, I'm the queen of offers. I'm on fire. Bow to me. And I think I probably just literally flattened them, because they're not used to me talking like that. But I was like, I'm actually really good at this. Why do I keep doing, this? And that brought to my mind that I had been putting this off forever. But it was the time when I actually honored the part of me that was needing to connect with something I always say is really important to me, which is the people in my life, right? I have been feeling for a while that I'm not connecting with my friends. There is just so much work that I'm trying to cram in, and I'm not really, I'm there with my family, but I'm not fully present. And that goes against my values, because these are like, this is a big part of my why. I love these people in my life, and I also love to get, more of these connections flowing. And when I do, I know that there is more awesomeness that flows, right? But this time, when this thing that I had been forever putting off, just because no matter how much work I put into the lead up to it, that final thing, there was this big block. Couldn't get it out. And there I was, honoring, despite the fact that I blew my accountability deadline. I felt super crappy about it. But there was a part of me that I was like, no, I'm not going to go and work on that. Instead, I'm just going to surrender to this, to whatever unfolds, right? And what was unfolding was, of course, things that were popping up, still my work going on, but my relationships, the things that I want, the people that I want to pay attention to. And then, boom, all of a sudden, this thing that I've been struggling with is a reality, and it won't stop. It just keeps flowing. I'm like, I can do that. And get this, talk about loud, right? This thought popped in my head that I'm literally a gold mine. Why? I don't say that about myself. I don't. Doesn't matter whether I know, how much I've learned, how much experience I have. I don't talk about myself like that. And I'm sharing that just because it's important for me. Like, I'm not blowing myself up. I'm literally sharing with you that this experience was foreign to me. But it was also important in connecting some of the dots in my head, going, what happens when you honor the part of you that inside you you're not being true to? And what happens when values that are so fundamental to you, and you talk about having those values interwoven within, like, everything you do as a conscious business owner, but that part of those values, maybe you're not showing up as powerfully as you should, right? So it's about being true. But when you honor that, what happens when you connect with that and bring that into your life more fully? Other aspects that you have been struggling with just open up. And it made me think, what else? What else could that be true of? So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because it's been popping up in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where else is that showing up? And let me take a look at the comments, because I've been talking. It was difficult for me to talk about, to tell you the truth. So I kind of just pushed it back and back and back until the whole story came out. And it's most of the story, but yeah, I hope you get. Hope you get how big that is. For me to acknowledge and realize, as somebody who works on puzzles frequently, as entrepreneurs like us do. That's what we do. We solve the puzzles in our life, and we make things better. But we also struggle with aspects of the puzzles that we're solving, and sometimes we struggle with them longer than necessary because they're parts of our being that we are not honoring and acknowledging, and they hold us back. But when we do, those doors open up. And anyway, wanted to share that. Okay, let's see. And Vicky says, I'm so proud of you. So awesome. I was thinking that you guys would get that, Vicky. I was pretty sure you would get that. And there you go. You actually said, I get that. And there's Larissa. So happy to see you, Larissa. And no, I don't say anything about me. And yes, that closet is very much there, because it's such a, growing up in different cultures and different parts of the world, I always believe that is a blessing. But that also brings its own thing, right? I grew up with the concept of a stiff upper lip. and privacy, and you are not, don't be loud. You don't toot your own horn. It's just, there's a whole aspect to it. And I don't think that, I'm not talking about being obnoxious, because I don't know, there's still a huge part of me that I'm like, nobody needs to hear like about what I think about me. I don't even really need to think about, oh, look how great I am. What really matters is what I'm able to do with what I know, right? Who's a huge part of my why, a huge part of my purpose is I truly believe I'm here to touch people's lives and leave them better, right? Whenever I'm in a setting, I'm like, oh, what can I create? What can I bring to the fore? What can I do in this interaction that leaves things better for me having been here, right? And so in that aspect, I'm like, what really matters is with everything I've gathered around me, what can I create that has so much value that it changes things for the better? And I've had so many conversations in the last few days with people about, the state of the country, the state of the world, whether capitalism is doomed, whether socialism is any better, what's happening with the economy, what's happening with economic systems. And it blows my mind that so much of that discussion is external. There's pros and cons and good things about just about everything, right? In my opinion, I think capitalism is a system that at least allows you to build on it, improve it, and do things that allow people to tap into their potential and exercise their freedom to change things. So whenever I hear that, oh, we should just scrap it, I'm like, yeah, but guys, scrapping something from the whole, especially when you see that there are aspects of it that are actually pretty cool, starting from scratch, you don't necessarily know. And it's going to take a long time to kind of build things from scratch, and you're still going to run into those same problems because you're still pointing externally. What's happening within that allows us to show more powerfully in the system that we are present? Why is it we cannot change things one step at a time, one person at a time, taking responsibility, not blame, taking responsibility for how we show up in our world as business owners? So that was me showing up a little differently as a business owner in my world, acknowledging that the values I hold true, am I practicing what I'm preaching? Right? It's so easy for me to say, hey, let's just weave all this, through. Let me show you how this works. Your systems, yeah, I got that. Let me show you, right? But then if I am not practicing that in my world, am I truly modeling it? So anyway, okay, so let me see. Matt says, I'm really happy that you're realizing that this about you. Yeah, it's not that I don't know that I know a lot, right? I have spent a lot of time, a lot of energy. There's been a lot of sacrifice, and I've invested a ton of money into being where I am. And I'm proud of it. I don't deny that. I'm not pushing down what I have accomplished. It's just that it's hard for me to talk about it. I'd rather just show it in my work, right? So when I was sitting there and this thought popped up in my head that, what am I quibbling about? I'm literally a gold mine. This person would be lucky to work with me. Like, that's literally actually the full thing that popped up, and I didn't even share the whole thing. But that was it. I was like, what am I quibbling about? This person would be lucky to work with me. I would be their secret ace in the pocket, in the hole. They would, all this. And then I was like, yeah, I am their secret unfair advantage. and they'd be lucky to work with me. So there you go. I've actually said that because, yeah, there you go. And and Vicky says, be loud. In the words of J-Lo, let's get loud. And Vicky also shares, yes, what you can do and how you can touch people's lives. That's the best part of this whole thing for me, because I really believe that it doesn't matter. Like we can focus on what's wrong with things all we want, but it also allows us to sort of push off our own responsibility, right? Because, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. Really? Or realize the power of that one person. What can you do as that one person? How many lives are you touching, and how are you inspiring those lives to also take on that torch and do things, because they're also one more person at a time, right? That's what I think. And Larissa says, I often talk about my life, my process, and my healing as a sharing my experiences with others, hoping to inspire and motivate. 100%. And I have heard you share your story. You've shared it with me. And it is indeed inspiring about what one individual can do when they decide to do things differently, in spite of all the noise and all the voices telling them otherwise. And Vicky, I love you too. Like, dude, there's just so much I admire about how you show up. Yes, Larissa says, we only can help others to the extent and deepness we help ourselves. That's been a work in progress for me. And I heard something today that made me think. I'll share that with you. You know, for people who are givers, who lead with the heart, it's so easy to give until we get depleted, right? That's a story. How often do we hear that? It's not an uncommon story. And today I heard somebody say, learn to receive so you can give. And I'm like, yeah, but I already know how to give, right? And then the next part of that was the part that kind of went, whoop. And I was like, ah. Oh. And what he said was, you give, but you haven't really figured out how really to receive. And once you seek to receive and you fill that up, and yes, I've heard part of that before, but just the way he put it today, it was the part that I was like, oh. And it was like, once you are receiving and you learn that bit about receiving, now you know that your ultimate destination is to give, and you can actually, once you have received, then you can give more fully, and you can give even more. And ultimately there comes a time when you wake up in the morning feeling so grateful and blessed because you are just giving. And I was like, so I have it backwards, right? It was always give, and recharge, yeah, okay, whatever. And that's why that whole recharge session thing is back on my mind again. And I'm like, I think it's time to bring back recharge. I'm actually been working on that to kind of say, okay, how do I want to run it? Not as an intensive or as a workshop. How do I take the learning from having delivered that workshop, and how do I do it as a different model, right? Do I want to do it as a challenge? Do I want to do it as, like, how do I want to do it? So I've been working on it. Stay tuned. That's going to be something I share with you next week, because I'm hard at work working that out. And let's see. Vicky says, that's a much more supportive statement. You're super... I appreciate that so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Actually, Vicky is the one who said to me, I don't believe you fully realize how much this is needed. And I remember that gave me pause. Because I know it's needed, but it was always like, yeah, I know that's needed. But the fact she's referring to, I believe, is it's needed in the way I'm presenting it because it's close to my heart. I own that aspect of it. I know that. Who better to deliver it? And for me to step into that and claim that. But even putting this show out was a huge step for me because that was not my, like, you're talking to the person who wouldn't do for herself what she did for her clients, right? No social media presence, no website, not even a Facebook profile picture on my Facebook profile. The only reason I set up the account was because I got bugged by some, friends and family to say, have at least an account so we can sometimes, just chat with you. That was the only reason. So this show, like, granted, I've been, doing lives on my Facebook pages and profile, and I've been sharing things, but that was like little. But this was literally a challenge for me because I would not put anything out on YouTube. I already shared with you that was an accountability piece for me. If I wanted to absolutely do something I'd been putting off, my thing was, okay, if I don't do it, I have to put something out on YouTube. And I would 1000% do it because there was no way in God's green earth that I was putting anything out on YouTube. So you can imagine this whole show being a reality. That's a big thing. And let me see. You guys are so amazing. To complete the circle of giving, Vicky says, you must also receive at some time, allow someone else the gift of giving. You are so right. And I thought I receive, I don't turn things down and so on, but it's not fully receiving because I'm always figuring out how to give back even more, right? And it's not as comfortable receiving. Oh, this is Larissa says, become a link of the chain. A chain of love, from self-love to loving others. Self-love is not as, I think I'm pretty comfortable with myself. I like myself as a person. And yet, these days, I've actually been questioning that I push myself pretty hard, right? Whenever something needs to get done, I keep slipping on that totem pole. So do I really? And what aspect of it do I need to sit with and realize and become aware of more and more? But that's the beauty of being a human, right? It's the ability to actually be able to see what is it I'm missing and how can actually I up level how I'm showing up in this life. I love human beings and the potential that we have of just upping the game. Zishan, you're so right. Put your own mask on first if you want to be able to help other people who are struggling with theirs. Love, you got it. That's wisdom right there. And it's not just words. We hear that, but we don't always take it in. I'm 100% can't argue with that. Yes, I can't wait because I'm hard at work, working on that. So it's recharge time. I'm going to share with you, and things are happening and they're happening fast, but here I go, the queen of offers. I am actually super good at setting those up because I genuinely, from all of my being, want to solve that problem, make things better. And who better because I actually flipping care. So thank you for being here with me and sticking through the tech challenges and all. Love you and have an awesome day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the different parts of the world. And I'll see you next Thursday, same bad time, same bad signal, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific, and I think it's 10 or 10:30 Australian time, depending on where you are in Australia. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.